What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex. In this video, I want to talk about if the new Crash Bandicoot game will be announced at the Game Awards 2019. Now, this is, I guess, kind of a stretch just from the onset. Firstly, we're believing, and for the purposes of this video, and I'll talk about it a little bit, but for the purpose of this video, we're going to believe that there's a new Crash Bandicoot game coming. Now, I had actually talked about this a long time ago when Crash Team Racing came out. I made videos and I said, I actually thought 2021 would be the year that we got a brand new Crash game. I think there's always been that divide of, are we going to get a brand new game or are we going to get another remake? My petition that I would just sign 1,000 times myself would be Crash Bash. I need that game in my life. I need that game brought back. But from the time I'm recording this, there was the rumors from people that had leaked Crash the Insane Trilogy and also Crash Team Racing that there is a brand new Crash game, brand new game coming out in 2020, like semi-open world, like a Mario kind of game. Now that's very, very exciting. And again, the question, I feel there will always be the question. I think it would make for a good video that I'll make at a later date for sure if it gets announced. Is should it have been a brand new game or should it have just been a remake of another game? And that's totally, I feel like that's what a lot of people are going to talk about once we find out anything. But, Crash has a tie to the Game Awards. Last year, funny enough, I made a video, I believe, the day before the Game Awards came out, and I had recorded it weeks before, but I had let it, sit on the channel on private, and I talked about Crash Team Racing, that, is it real? And lo and behold, all of a sudden the rumors started picking up, and then bam, it was shown at the Game Awards. And the way it came out was like, oh, I had just heard about the rumors like the day before, when actually I had kind of predicted like a month ago when I recorded it, and then it happened. So, but that's just like a funny side story. The point is, though, it's not unheard of. Crash and Activision have a relationship with Jeff Keighley and the Game Awards, and this, I've talked about it so many times with so many different games with the Game Awards. I've made a couple videos talking about what could be there. The Game Awards this year, he always says it. And I like Jeff Keighley. I think he's a really cool guy. I like his work. I like how passionate he is. He always talks about how, every year's Game Awards is going to be the greatest thing ever, right? And to be honest with you, rarely it is. I thought last year's was talked up so much. And myself, I was very excited for the Game Awards. Went into it, it really wasn't anything. I truly believe that. We got Crash Team Racing, we got Mortal Kombat, we got a little Dragon Age teaser. Pretty much, in my mind, that was it. That was the big announcements. Not enough. Now this year, we have the potential of a Batman game, Warner Bros. Montreal's Batman game, maybe even a Rockstar game. Maybe we get GTA or Bully or whatever. Green Day is performing, and they're having an announcement. Maybe Rock Band or Guitar Hero is coming back. There's a lot. And it's weird that these Crash rumors are coming out, and from everything we know, well, here's the deal. The question, I guess, would be, would this game be a current or next-gen game? And that's a big deal, especially when it comes to, this central video's question of, will it be announced at the Game Awards? I feel like it will be announced at the Game Awards if this game is a current-gen game that comes out in June again. Now, they have found just the sweetest spot at the end of June, and I think they're going to stay there. I think Activision knows that it's a prime opportunity, and they are not moving from that spot. However, unless it is a next-generation game, then you could see them obviously moving, right? But Crash Insane Trilogy and Crash Team Racing both released the second half of June and both did absolutely amazing. So I think they feel very, very comfortable doing that. And again, the reason I'm saying that, the reason I'm kind of predicting when it could release, and you could say, well, you're jumping the gun. The only reason I'm saying that is the Game Awards tends to be very, first half of the next year heavy. Now, yeah, again, I know, Dragon Age was just teased last year, and Dragon Age is probably 3 years out. I get that, right? So I understand sometimes they'll just do some random thing that doesn't really make sense for their vision. But normally the bigger announcements that the Game Awards has, and even historically, even VGAs, historically, they announce things. The announcements they do have are announcements for the first half of 2019 or 2020 of the next year, whatever the year after the Game Awards is, or even the VGAs. That's what it's normally primarily heavy on, and it makes sense, right? Because you have all these Game Award shows throughout the year, or gaming convention shows throughout the year, and that's the time where you fill in the rest. You're not going to announce a ton of fall stuff. You're not going to see next generation stuff at the Game Awards because that's kind of what E3's for. That's if Sony and Microsoft want to have their own event in February or March talking about the next generation of consoles. That's what those events are for. The Game Awards is not to show you the next game in September that's releasing or October. It just isn't. You're not going to get that. I think that's what probably stops like an Assassin's Creed game from being shown at the Game Awards because it's too far out. And again, you have other things to focus on. You can really promote the things you're going to do in the first half of the year. Even again, if you look at last year, Crash Team Racing, June, Mortal Kombat, April. So I'd say two of the biggest announcements, and even in terms of just like, here's the game, like it's real and it's coming out already, and here's the release date. Those were probably the two big. I mean, yeah, there were other things like Dauntless was a game, and there's a couple other games I can't even remember because to me, again, like honestly, they weren't that big. But the two biggest ones were the first half of the year. So again, if this new Crash game is a current gen game, and it comes out in the first half of next year, then yeah, I think it's very likely actually it gets announced at the Game Awards. It's kind of weird. Like I feel like a big part of it is a conversation or a debate of like, does it make sense that it would be current gen and not next gen? Like, why exactly would you do that? And also, have you given them enough time? And I always again assumed, I think a lot of people assume that Crash was running on like a 2-year cycle. Now it's not the same studio making every single one, but I will agree with you that we've only had 2 games, right? And the difference in between the 2 games has been 2 years. So I think a lot of people just assumed that the third game would be 2 years after the Crash Team Racing, the second game. So I'll give it to you that it's not the same studio, so it's not like they're making a game every single year, but I don't know, and you don't want to have fatigue. You don't want to have like, oh, these games come out every single year now. You got to capitalize when things are hot. I understand that. I understand that Crash is back, bigger than ever. Everybody loves it. These games have been amazing. It's great to see them come back, and eventually, and I've always said it, the plan for these remakes were to gauge if people are interested and then give us something new. That was ultimately, that's why Spyro has been remade. That's why a lot of these remakes happen. No, not Shadow of the Colossus. No, not necessarily Final Fantasy VII. Some of those are just kind of like for fun. But even like Medieval, like you gotta think that Sony's thinking about it, just as like it's not going to be their next big title. It's not going to rival Uncharted or The Last of Us Part 2 or something. But, you gotta think about these kind of things. And especially for Crash and Spyro, it's more of a, let's see if people are interested, and if they are, we're going to give them a brand new game, because clearly they want also, they're into the old, but they want the old in a new way, and we're going to give them a brand new game. So it makes a lot of sense. It's just, would they have held off for next generation consoles, or just does it just not matter to them? In a way, there's a lot of benefits of releasing your game in the first half of 2020. Yeah, there's a lot of other games releasing in the first half of 2020, but at the same time, like you're going out to the most amount of people you're probably going to get. Like, yeah, there'll be backwards compatibility, so you could release it on both platforms, but like the most people have the platforms now than they've had in with either of the last 2 games, right? More people have a PS4 now than they did when Crash Team Racing came out, and more people have it now than when the Insane Trilogy comes out. So, and again, these are all kind of conversations to discuss, like, if it's going to be at the Game Awards, I just don't see it being out any later than June. So they're very, very, in my opinion, very much tied to each other. With the rumor that it's 2020, you got a 50-50 shot, right? Because you could either come out January through June, which is 6 out of 12 months, or you could come out July through December, which is the other 6. So you got a 50% shot that this is coming out. And even I've seen people say it even with like the Batman Arkham games, where I've said like, hey, if it doesn't come out in June, I think it's probably a cross-generation game. People will throw out, well, August is a month too, and that's true. Late August is a time where games come out. We saw it even this year with Man of Medan. We saw Control come out. But even July, Nintendo destroyed July. We had Super Mario Maker that was June 28th, so, right at the edge. But then we had a Fire Emblem and also Marvel Ultimate Alliance in July, and they both did very, very well. So it's not like games can't survive in those months. So it's not, I'm not saying like it's June or nothing. Yeah, it's possible for July or August. But again, if you're going to release it in July or August, why not just do late June? We know that they have a lot of confidence in that time period, right? It's been very, very successful for them. They know late June works for Crash. It's worked twice, so why mess with it for the third time? So I'm going to go like kind of 50-50. I would actually kind of lean towards yes. I think it would be such a surprise thing, especially like where I am now. Like yesterday, in terms of me when I'm recording this, I didn't think this was going to happen. I didn't even think this was a remote possibility that Crash could be there. But looking at it now, like it's definitely possible. It's not an impossible thing to happen. And if it does happen, I mean, that's definitely huge. That's a major, I mean, I've wanted a new Crash for a long time. I've also wanted Crash Bash, which I'm going to throw out there one more time. I need that game. So guys, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think we're going to get the Crash announcement at this year's Game Awards, or do you think they'll wait? I mean, they can announce it at E3 as well. That's totally possible. But let me know in the comments below what you think. When do you think we'll see this game? When do you think it'll come out? All those things in the comments. Make sure you guys subscribe to our YouTube channel, Podcast Now. Hit the bell icon so you guys know when these videos go up. And if it does get announced, I'd love to cover Crash a whole lot more often on this channel. I adore that franchise. So if you guys want me to do that, if you guys like Crash in general, make sure you guys support this video, like, share, all that kind of stuff, so I know that you guys want to see more of it, okay? So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to see you all on the next video.